Okay, so for the beginning of this week, I had you take a look at a couple of thought experiments. I love thought experiments because they help us to identify some of our ethical biases. And there are two specifically that I wanted to take a look at in this screencast in order to show you exactly how these biases can be identified. The first one is the climber. The climber is a thought experiment that was first proposed by Richard Niebuhr. Niebuhr was a Protestant theologian and moral theologian and ethicist from the middle part of the 20th century. And you all read the thought experiment. Basically, these two guys are acquaintances, and they go mountain climbing. And while they're climbing, one of them falls to his death. When the other comes down to get him, the one guy says to the other that he's got $500,000 that's locked away in a safe deposit box, and he tells the other how to get it and makes the other promise in his dying breath to give this money to his younger brother. Now, when the other guy comes home and he gets this money out of the safe deposit box, he recognizes, he starts talking to the family, and he finds out that this younger brother is a bit of a ne'er-do-well. He's a drug addict, or he's recently out of rehab, or there's all kinds of issues there. While the older brother has a dire need of the money. And so the big question is, what do you do? Do you follow this dying man's wish and give the money to the younger brother, even though you believe this man to be a ne'er-do-well? Or do you give the money to somebody else, to the older brother to help him through his loss of a job, to a charity? Do you keep some for yourself? And this really kind of highlights your own moral biases. Because if you give the money to the younger brother, you value keeping a promise more than the ultimate good that will come from the use of the money. Whereas if you give it to the older brother or to a charity or someone else, then you value the total good that the money can do more than keeping that promise. If you keep it for yourself, you're simply an egoist, and I'm never going to tell you where any money's hidden. So that's one thought experiment that you took a look at. And what it does is it highlights the difference between a utilitarian and a deontological ethic. A utilitarian ethic is an ethic that says that the thing to do is that which creates the greatest benefit for the greatest number of people. So a utilitarian ethicist would suggest that the thing to do in that situation is to give the money to whoever's going to do the most good with it, be it the older brother or a charity or someone else. And that giving the money to the younger brother, when you have reason to believe that this guy is going to blow it on drugs and is basically going to self-destruct, is an immoral thing to do. A deontological ethicist, on the other hand, will say that it is important to follow moral duties. And one of those moral duties is promise keeping. And so keeping that promise to the man to give this money to his younger brother is more important than what's going to come out of it. Now, there are a lot of issues with either one of these moral systems, and we're going to take a look at both of them in another screencast. But the way that you fall down on that particular issue is going to determine largely where you stand on a lot of other moral issues. We're going to take a look at the trolley problem next. And I'm going to actually save that for the next video because I am running out of time here. So thank you for watching, and hopefully you'll take a look at the next one.